All right, let's talk about the body weight scale. All right, now when it comes to the body weight scale, you have to proceed with caution. You cannot let how you feel, you cannot let your progress or any of those things be dictated by the number that you see that's on the scale. I'm not going to break down exactly why. The body weight scale does not tell the whole story of what's going on with your body. It only accounts for the actual pounds that you weigh, right? Now, what it doesn't account for is the actual muscle that's being built or the fat that's being lost, because muscle and fat both weigh weight, right? So if you're losing fat but you're building muscle, you can technically be at roughly the same weight, but your body is changing the way that it looks. The fat is starting to get lost, let's say the midsection, but you're building muscle. Maybe you're building your abs and your arms, your butt, your legs, your thighs, all those muscle groups that you probably want to emphasize on. So why would you put all of your thoughts and all about how you feel on your progress based on only what you're seeing on a scale? It's not the best tool to have a full indication of how your progress is going. So what should you do? Definitely use a scale, but don't depend on it. I would suggest, if you're not going to be really rigid when with tracking, just weigh yourself one time per week. All right, one time per week. Let's say on Friday morning, before you eat, before you put your clothes on. So do your clothes off. After you use the washroom, roughly the same time every Friday, right? Once per week. That's good enough. Now, I normally will recommend, if you're going to do it and you want to weigh yourself more, then do it every single day. But we're going to go based on the average. So if, let's say, you weigh yourself every single day for 7 days, you add all of those pounds up and then you divide them by 7, since there's 7 days in a week. So all the pounds, divide them by 7. Whatever that number is, at the end of the week, you compare it to the next week's number total. And then you compare that to the next week's total. And that's how you get the average of what you actually weigh, because our weight fluctuates on a day-to-day basis. And that depends on how much food you ate the day before, the carbs, because carbs hold water, and water weighs weight, right? It weighs pounds. So it's not that carbs make you gain weight or anything like that. We've talked about that already. But it does contain water, so you can be a little bit more heavier in a sense, quote unquote, because of the water, but it doesn't mean that you're gaining actual fat. All right. It also depends on the sodium, and depends on if you ate and all those things. So you can't, our weight can fluctuate anywhere between 3 to 5 pounds, maybe even sometimes more, on a daily basis. So one day you may wake up and it may say 183, and maybe that's a new low for you. And then the next day you get back on there and it says 188. You're like, whoa, hold on. And then the next day 184. Then next day, 187 is like, oh my God, like where am I going with this? Like you don't wanna put that type of stress on yourself. Instead, what we're gonna do is you're gonna get a body weight scale, but one that also takes your body fat percentage, right? Now your body fat percentage is a little bit more accurate. So I'll actually link a body weight scale that takes body fat percentage that you can order. You can grab it from Amazon or wherever it may be, but get one that has at least 4 stars, relatively decent with the price. Now, with body fat percentage, it's not 100% accurate. It can be a percentage or 2 or 3 off, but at least lets you know what's actually happening if you're losing fat, as opposed to just depending on that weight. Because here's the kicker. There was a time when I weighed 190 pounds and I was fat, like I had fat, I can grab on my stomach. Now I can weigh 190 pounds and be relatively lean, right? So I'll put up like maybe a before and after, weighing the same exact weight on both of these pictures, but my body looks completely different. And that's because I lost fat and then I built muscle. So since muscle also weighs weight, it also weighs pounds, and fat also weighs pounds, you can do a body recomposition, which is when you're losing fat but building muscle, and then you're staying roughly at that same weight range. So that can be part of the process. Now, if you're a little bit heavier, then yeah, you probably will be losing more weight and more fat relatively quickly, and you can actually look at the scale to see that coming off. But as you get leaner, right? As you get leaner, you don't want to solely depend on the weight, what the body weight scale says. That's when you want to depend on your body fat percentage to see where that's going, and then also some of the other things like tracking your measurements, which is the other video that you should have watched, or you probably will be watching after this one. All right, so don't focus on the body weight scale as much. Don't focus on what the weight says for today. Track your weights once per week, maybe a Friday or Saturday, and then also track your body fat percentage. And it's going to give you a better indication of how your body is transforming, how your body is adjusting, the fat that you're losing, the muscle that you're building, and all of those things that really matter, right?